In Chapter 3, Part 3 of the notes, we will discuss the cycles of matter. The first cycle is the hydrologic cycle, or the water cycle. This is the path of water through the environment. This includes condensation, evaporation, and precipitation. All metabolic processes rely on water. The flow of nutrients through an ecosystem and heat and energy distribution also rely on water. 10% of evaporated water from land lands back on the continents and is used by the plants and stored as groundwater. The other 90% of evaporated water ends up back in the large bodies of water. You can see through the diagram the many different ways that water moves through the three stages of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. The carbon cycle shows us the intake of carbon dioxide through photosynthesis, its conversion into sugar molecules, and then being broken down again through cellular respiration. Remember that carbon is a structural component in all organic compounds and is considered energy storing. The length of the carbon cycle can vary. When carbon dioxide from plants, then eaten and broken down through cellular respiration, that cycle is a short cycle. But when carbon is trapped in oil or fossil fuels, this becomes a longer carbon cycle. Carbon sinks are deposits that limit the CO2 in the atmosphere. Remember that the release of carbon in the atmosphere is a factor in climate regulation. You can look at the picture for several different ways through how carbon travels through our environment. The nitrogen cycle is the process that recycles nitrogen so that it can be used. Nitrogen is needed for amino acids, peptides, and nucleic acids. Amino acids are main structures in proteins. Atomic nitrogen is fixed by nitrogen-fixing bacteria that live on plants, and then is passed on from the plants to the consumers. Dead organisms then break down, and denitrifying bacteria returns the nitrogen to the atmosphere. Humans also add nitrogen to the environment by using synthetic fertilizers, cultivating nitrogen-fixing bacteria crops, and by using fossil fuels, which can double the amount, which leads to the nutrients, the nitrogen found in soil. You can see how nitrogen flows through our atmosphere in the picture below. The phosphorus cycle shows how phosphorus compounds leach from rocks and minerals and are taken up and used by plants. The plants then decompose, and the phosphorus is put back into the rocks and minerals in the soil. You can see the movement of phosphorus through the phosphorus cycle in the picture below. The final cycle is the sulfur cycle. Sulfur is a compound in proteins, acid rain, and also in climate regulation. You can see the cycle of sulfur and sulfur dioxide and sulfate through our environment and the atmosphere in the picture below.